Hello and welcome back to the Only Swans Podcast, coming to you live, as you can see behind us, from Swansea Jack. I say that's probably not the best start for our audio listeners, is it?
No, definitely not.
But it works, and it's nice to be back here again in the midst of the January transfer window. How are you, Carwyn?
Yeah, I'm good. Not too bad, I had to wait a few hours for you, so got a Nando's in, but
No, it
not
was
too bad.
rough afternoon.
Rail replacement day.
Rail replacement buses. It took me 2 hours to get here from Cardiff, but it happens. One of those days. But yeah, as I say, we're in the midst of the January transfer window. 2 signings so far. What have we made of it?
It's been a bit of a weird one, hasn't it? Because we never really expected many players to come in. I think that was mentioned by a lot of different journalists and stuff. But I did think the Joel Ward signing was a bit rogue. Stu James probably hit the nail on the head the other day. He hasn't played in pretty much a year. I mean, he barely played last season, and he definitely hasn't played in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And we've brought him in as sort of the option for Key. Not that he's looked particularly terrible, but he just does look like a player who has barely played in a year.
Yeah. No, it is a bit of a head scratcher, I think, the Joel Ward one. Obviously, a player who has vast experience, and I think I can see how Matos could look at the squad and think we need a little bit more leadership. Yeah. We lost that in the summer with Norton and Allen and probably didn't really replace it. But at the same time, I think right back was such an issue where we needed someone who was going to come in and play right now. Now, of course, that costs money or loan fees, whatever you want to do. But it is a little bit of a head scratcher when he didn't come on at Hull on Saturday.
Yeah.
And Josh Key, love him. He had a tough time when he came on.
Yeah, sure.
But, I think we'll see the best of Joel Ward as he builds up fitness. I'm sure he's, as you say, has barely played over the last 18 months. It's going to take a bit of time. But equally, I'd like to see another option at right back.
I think we do need another option. As I said in the last episode, I think in terms of a right back, it was probably best if we went for sort of a short-term option like a loan or a free agent, just because you can always get better in the summer. The January market is a bit horrible, but we probably should have looked at a loan option as opposed to, a 36-year-old who hasn't played in a year, 2 years, whatever.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I thought we would make a loan addition in that area. I was a little bit surprised when it came out that Joel Ward was going to be the player that we'd look to bring in, but I think it's down to leadership as much as anything. I mean, I suppose I'd quite like to see Sam Parker go out and play, but equally, learning off Joel Ward for 6 months probably would help him. I think the same for Josh Key. He's obviously in a very tough spell at the moment, the toughest spell of his career probably, and you could see that when he came on Saturday. Having someone who's been there and done it, been through tough spells himself, I'm sure, alongside him in his position, maybe fighting for places, but still giving him advice, I think could really help him. Of course, the other signing that we made, Gustavo Nunes, our second Brazilian winger in the ranks. We didn't sign a Brazilian in, quick maths, 112 years of operating as a club, and now we've got 2 of them on the books. What have you made of him?
I mean, he didn't look too inspiring when we played against Hull, but it's one of them where he's been playing under 21s football since he joined Brentford, and he's had an injury or 2, I think, as well. It's probably a bit of a free hit of a signing, which you don't really want to say when you do need a winger. I mean, that's a given that we desperately need a winger. But from everything I watched of him in Brazil, he looks direct. He looks really good on the ball. He looks like quite a bit of a goal threat. I would like to see that here, and I think there's definitely a potential to see that here, because I'd say that physicality-wise, the Brazilian league is probably very similar to the Championship. The whole stuff of having to stop all these brilliant technical players is just chopping them down in Brazil, pretty much. But
I'm sure, he was playing in the Brazilian league as a 16-year-old. I'm sure that's not an easy thing to do. And ultimately, you have to trust Brentford's recruitment, really. Yeah. I mean, if Brentford think this guy's worth spending £10 million on, then chances are he's probably quite a decent player, because Brentford don't tend to get those things wrong. But at the same time, he's barely played for them, and it is a bit of a step down from Raksaki on paper, in the sense that Raksaki has obviously had 2 excellent seasons in the EFL, played a fair bit in the Premier League, whereas Nunes hasn't had that experience yet. But equally, he's younger. He could be much more talented and just a little bit less on the road on his journey. But We'll see. I'm a lot more confident in him coming in because he's from Brentford than I would have been if, we dragged in some random Premier League 2 kid who'd never played.
Yeah,
But,
100%.
He's played some football for Gremio. They're a big club. We've all heard of them. And hopefully he'll add something. Where do you think we need to continue adding? Because obviously I don't think the window's done yet from our point of view, but whether the club may see it that way.
I think we definitely still need sort of a left-hand sided winger. I think since Matos came in, he almost looked a lot better, but at the same time, I think he's still a way away from being like that higher quality in the Championship. And to be honest, I don't think Anusa has it at all currently to be that starting player.
Yeah, I mean, I like I think he has something to offer, and I think if we had a sort of touchline winger on the other side, if Ronald could string a sort of string of performances together, then could sort of work quite well coming inside, like picking up pockets of space. But he's had about 4 good months in the 18 that he's been here.
Yeah.
And as much as he is looking good at the moment, and I suppose you can only really judge based on what the new manager has done, I still don't know. And Anusa, I'm really not convinced by.
I don't think 2 touchline wingers will ever work with the players we have here. I think we do need a player like on that wing because it allows Timon to bomb forward because it opens up the space when comes inside and we've got another winger on the outside. But I'm not sure if is that player. He's still not really physically ready for the league after 18 months, which isn't great. And I mean, I think you do need somebody physical in the middle of the park at all times. Somebody who can at least hold their own in a physical battle, and I don't think he really can.
The other thing that worries me a little bit about our wide options, and I mean, this is so much easier said than done to remedy in any window, but especially January, is there's not much goals.
No.
And in terms of, I mean, you can't buy goals. At the same time, we have the top scorer in the league, so, can't be too greedy. But you can't get away with having wingers anymore in this league who contribute.
Most teams who get promoted from this league, including us, always have a goal-scoring winger. Ours was Sinclair. I mean, you can look at the teams of the years. There's Ben Rama. There are so many good wingers. I mean, even look now, like every team in the league has at least one goal-scoring winger, really. Birmingham have Damari Gray. I always think of him straight away because that screamer he scored a few months ago. But there are so many of them. Yeah,
you can't get away without wingers who aren't scoring goals. And I suppose the slightly bizarre thing is the wingers we've recruited haven't scored that many. It's not as if like we've brought in these like inside forward goal scoring types and they just haven't worked. We've never really seemed to sign players that profile. Now, we could have ended up dropping £6 million on Anusa if add-ons are hit. I'm going to go out on a limb and say none of those add-ons will have been hit so far. So I don't know what we actually have paid for him at the moment. But for that money, you'd want that sort of winger who's going to score goals, surely.
Yeah, you don't want a half product. You want the finished guy, like, for that amount of money.
Yeah, no, I think he's been a real sort of head-scratcher. It started quite brightly, but since then, I'm really not sure. And
he's one of those that when you watch him, you can see why fans will always like a player like that because he will always take his man on. He is exciting, but if you look at him in a bit more context, he barely gets any minutes on the grass. He looks shattered after touching the ball about 5 times, doing a little run, and his output is terrible. He is great on the ball. I think he's such a fantastic dribbler, and I think he's clearly got the qualities to be a brilliant player in this league, but his output just doesn't match what we say about him.
Was it 2 assists, I think, and they both came in August? Obviously got 1 goal in the Cup as well. And it seems like he might be out for a little bit now. Obviously, another player who's out is Adam Eder. Seems like he's going to be out for quite a while. Would you delve into the market and get a striker, or trust in Bobby Wales?
I think we could probably do with a loan up front, just simply because I think, from my personal perspective, I'd send Bobby Wales out to get minutes somewhere else where he's going to start week in, week out, because he's a young striker who was playing every week last season, pretty much. He was getting a lot of minutes last season, so it must be a bit disheartening to move, 6-7 hours away from home and play absolutely no minutes at all. And to be fair, he doesn't really look ready yet either, I don't think.
Someone is going to pick up on what you just said, don't you?
I'm aware, yeah.
Yeah, okay, just checking. No, I'd like to send Bobby Wales out on loan as well. I do feel for him. I pretty much agree
Yeah.
with everything you said there. He's probably been sold a little bit of a dream coming
Yeah.
here. If I had to guess, he probably came here to be second choice, expecting Vipotnik to depart, as we all did really, and somebody else to come in up front, and then him to be the understudy, which is, I suppose, kind of what he is now if he is out. But equally, after not playing for 6 months, I think just going out and playing is the most important thing for him. I'd like to bring in a striker on loan. I mean, there's the other option, which is you throw Cullen up there, but it ain't for me.
No.
I'd rather see a striker brought in, but that isn't an easy market to operate in. I mean, Gatra Fofana is kind of the only one who I'd be looking at, but Chelsea seem to want to get rid of him permanently.
Yeah, and it's one of them where they need to get quite, you'd say like most teams want their strikers to go out and get minutes. There aren't many teams who are just going to send the striker out for experience, and there's a good chance that whoever comes in might only be playing 20 minutes a game, 30 minutes a game. They might get the odd start. We haven't even got a cup competition to play them in now. So, what team is going to jump at that and say, well, we've got this player.
I suppose the other option is you bring in a striker who can also play out wide, isn't it? The one I did like the links to was Bailey Cadamartri.
Yeah.
Obviously, someone who's played a lot for Sheffield Wednesday this season, but probably, let's be honest, wouldn't expect to start every week for any other team in this division. They're just in a very unique position, let's put it that way for now. And I think he is a really talented player. Showed that in League One last season, has shown it in glimpses this season. Obviously, there was a load of clubs linked. It was probably agent talk, but that would have been one that I'd quite liked us to look at. Sort of low risk, high reward, I think.
Yeah.
And I also worry about centre back. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think it's awkward now, especially because Casey's gone back. Cabango hasn't really looked himself this season. I don't know whether that's because he's not really used to playing next to a leader since he's become the main man. You've got to think, like, of course, Darlin led through performances. He was a fantastic player, but he's not the same as Cameron Burgess is. Cameron Burgess is clearly a leader vocally. Now, whether that affects Cabango at all as the captain, who knows? But he has looked a shell of himself because, I'd say he was probably our most consistent performer outside of a man who went to Coventry for
wheels falling off there, aren't they?
Ever since he started playing under Cooper,
No, I think he's probably been asked to do things that aren't natural to him because of Burgess. Like, Burgess is not going to be the player who puts his foot on it, brings it out the back, and is not really a sort of progressor in terms of playing passes forward, whereas Cabango's has to take on that role. And kind of whatever partner he's had before now, he's never really had to do that. He's kind of more been the kick it head at centre-back, where I'm not sure this role massively suits him, but at the same time, there's been some sort of uncharacteristic lapses of concentration, perhaps none more so spectacular than the penalty at Hull on Saturday.
And he has always played in a side, outside of maybe Cooper, that has dominated the ball, which I think is awkward because we are beginning to dominate the ball again now, but not quite to the same level. And obviously under Sheehan, we did not dominate the ball at all.
So we had 70% of the ball on Saturday. I think we are.
Yeah. No, we 70 versus 30, and I think against Blackburn we had more as well. So.
Yeah, we had a lot of the ball against Blackburn, not so much against Birmingham, but they looked to play really heavy possession football. But I can't see us getting a striker and a centre-back in.
No.
As much as I think we need to, because we do weirdly look a little bit light.
Yeah.
I would be pretty surprised. Where do you stand in terms of outgoings?
I'm not too sure. I don't see many players leaving. I think maybe one or two could be out the door on loan. Like I said, I think Bobby Wales is an option that I definitely consider going out on loan if we were to bring in a striker, just to literally get more minutes. We've got written here Ollie Cooper, but of course he can't because he's been on loan twice. I don't really know besides that. I don't really see anyone. Like, obviously there's always going to be the talk of Vipotnik until the deadline, but you don't really tend to see these high scoring strikers going in January because clubs want to protect their value, and obviously it doesn't look like Vipotnik's going to stop scoring anytime soon. And if he's the top scorer of the league, there's a good chance he'll go for 15 to 20 million quid. So I think the club will wait on him.
I mean, you're always risking it slightly. If we got an offer of £10 million and we turned it down, saying we think we can get more in the summer, you never know what's going to happen between now and then. But at the same time, I think he probably is worth more than what clubs would be willing to pay at the moment. I mean, it's kind of our only source of goals, let's be honest. I mean, I think he's got, I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure he's scored the highest proportion of any team's goals in the league. I mean, in fact, if it's not him, I don't know who the hell it would be, so it's got to be. But
he's also outperforming his XG by something like 7.3 or something, which is just ridiculous. Like, it just shows how much of a unicorn season he's having, to be honest.
I'm always an XG always wins believer, which I know makes me sound like a nerd, but in Vipotnik's case, I think he's just such a good striker of the ball that it doesn't feel like
it just looks like it's not going to catch up to him now.
Although XG certainly won against Hull.
Yeah, for sure.
That balance will have been redressed a bit with those 2 chances that he missed. But Hull are the league's mad XG outliers. They should be at the bottom of the league. So I think they've got some sort of like secret spell going on that we don't know about. But no, I think one I'd add to what you said there, I'd add Sam Parker. Obviously mentioned that earlier. I'd quite like to see him go out on loan because it's really hard to see where he gets a game at the moment. He's kind of, it's a shame really because I was really impressed when he first burst on the scene, but he's kind of further away from the squad than he's ever been,
which is strange because it's almost like there's been a slot for him all season.
I mean, it is a bit bizarre that he hasn't had luck in when our right back situation is as poor as it is. And to be honest, when he's played in the cup, I thought he's been all right. I've always been quite impressed, but he can also play on the right wing as well, which I'm surprised we've not seen him deployed there at any point. The completely forgotten man on the right wing, and I'm sure many people watching this will have forgotten he's even still here. Manuel Benson. What happens with him?
Surely he goes back. I mean, surely he won't play another game for this club. You've got to think. Wasn't it something like Burnley seeing if they can get another team to take him?
I mean,
but why would you?
I think we should be trying as well. Just ring up clubs, see if they fancy it. Because ultimately,
do the Jeff Montero where the club loaned him to another club. What's Tom?
You know, a loan's not gone well if your club that you're loaned at are going, do you reckon we can try and get him out on loan again? I didn't realise for years that you could actually do that.
He's the only player I've ever seen that happen to.
I think there's a couple of people it's happened to, but it's a very odd, as I say, it's not a sign that things are going well.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't see a world where he plays another game. I mean, it's such a shame. And do you know what? The fact that he was the worst out of all 3 of the names that it could have been, who was it? It was Patrick Roberts, who has been great. I mean, he scored against us the other day. And Kamara, you know.
And I was really excited about Benson when he came in.
Same.
But it's kind of not worked out at all from the start, even down to the way he was signing, where it looked like it might happen
2
and
days.
it might not.
I think it's one of them where, like, you look at a footballer and you're like, wow, he's brilliant. But then you realise that everything you're watching was 2 years ago and he's not the same player anymore. I mean, it's so unfortunate because I suppose it all comes down to, you know, the injuries he's had, the lack of football he's really played, and we are the first team that he's really gone out to and got minutes since that spell where he had so many injuries. But he just is not the same footballer anymore. I mean, it's not exciting at all. There isn't a point where I've watched him and thought, you know, wow, what a player. You know, he doesn't even cut in and finesse when he's played anymore.
No, it almost, I mean, he's obviously broken by injuries. It's kind of reminiscent to what I'm sure other clubs have seen of Jeff Montero, and as you just mentioned him just now, because he almost looks like it sort of hurts him to kick the ball at this point. Like the way he was passing and crossing was really sort of horribly awkward, if anything, and it's a shame because he was such a spectacular player to watch.
Special, yeah.
It's a lesson for me and for everyone, I think, in terms of just because a player was good 3 years ago and they've barely played probably doesn't mean they're good now.
And we are a club who loves being duped by injury-prone players. I mean, you look over the years, the amount of players we've signed on frees who have just played a solid 10 games and sat here for 3 years. You know, I mean, that is really our thing these days.
Ricardo Santos is another one in that list. Another forgotten man, I suppose. But
Well, God knows what's going on with him.
I mean, there's rumours he failed his medical. I don't think it was true, but at the same time, the fact we're sort of questioning whether it's true or not says a lot about his
Would you
injury
be that
record,
surprised?
doesn't it? Yeah. But next few games now coming up, we've got Watford and then Sheffield Wednesday. So what do you make of them two? Obviously, starting with Watford.
You know, Watford are a really fun team this season, and they've made some good signings again this window. I can't think of his name, but
Bove.
yeah, the one who has obviously come back from nearly dying, which is
the cardiac arrest
unbelievable. And they've made a really big deal out of that, as they should, because he must be buzzing to be back into the game. But they are a really fun team. I mean, they look really good. Again, this season's a really weird one in the Championship because there are so many teams who we've played against for so long who are all of a sudden just good again. You know, Watford have been a mess for years, but all of a sudden they finally look to have just hit something.
Yeah. I mean, if I could choose a team to watch as a neutral in the Championship right now, it would be Watford. I think they got by far and away the most fun group of players in the league. I think Othman Mama, who will play on Saturday, he's going to be a star. I think he'll go, I mean, without wishing to quote Harry Redknapp here, right to the very top.
Yeah.
I think Loser is the best player in the division.
You've got to think that he's going to the Prem sometime soon. I think this is his time now, to be honest.
I reckon they keep him around for 6 more months. Yeah. He did miss their last game, actually, against Blackburn, so fingers crossed he misses it against us, because I think he's the best player in the league by a pretty comfortable distance. Excellent. I see the sort of who's the best midfielder, Hackney, Loser, and some Coventry midfielder, and there's no question for me. It's Loser by a long way. And then there's Iran Kunda, Bar. I mean, you know, some great players and really fun players as well. It must be a really fun time to be a Watford fan. And I think it will be a tough place to go.
100%.
Now, Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, last time we spoke about Sheffield Wednesday, we sat here and talked about teddy bear protests, didn't we?
Yeah.
In one of our most random tangents.
It can't get much worse, can it? I mean,
didn't even end up happening.
No.
I was gutted about it. I was looking forward to the teddy bears, but yeah.
Do you remember the Cully bear?
Oh god, I forgot about the Cully bear.
How could we forget about Cully bear? But yeah, that's sort of a everyone eats game, isn't it? I mean,
it's as close as you get into a gimme in this division, isn't it?
Vipotnik's going to turn up, with his top scorer trophy in hand in that game. You got to hope.
Yeah, but equally, there's going to be someone who loses to them.
Yeah.
I hope to God it's not us, but there's going to be someone. I mean, they're 37 points from safety. The greatest league starts now.
If there's any positive, at least it's a home game, because, I mean, we are very good at home. We do pick up the points at home.
I mean, they do seem to be losing some of the few players they have there.
Yeah.
Obviously, Barry Bannon's on his way to Millwall in one, which I'm sure is going to hurt. But I did laugh this morning. Igugbo, obviously the ex-Cardiff striker as well. He's on his way out of there, and despite how thin their squad is and how few players they have, their fans were still delighted to see him go. It's like, that's when you know a move hasn't gone well at all.
Yeah. God, I would be heartbroken if we lost a player to the level of Barry Bannon.
God.
He's the closest thing to a modern day legend in football. I can't name another player at a club, especially in the Championship, who is as close to a legend at their club as he is.
Always kind of felt like he's the one that got away. Kind of like
under Cooper,
the absolute dream Swansea player. I mean, talk about like little technician to control things at the base of midfield. If we didn't have Grimes for all those years,
and he's such a great rattler as well.
Oh God,
he's one of them.
Oh, I love him. I think he's a brilliant player, and I'm sure he'll do well for Millwall. He's exactly the sort of character you want to bring into a dressing room. But yeah, 37 points from safety. I think they might be going down, to be honest.
They can't win the league anymore.
No, I saw
mathematically.
That. Well, playoff charges on for them now, isn't it? But
you can't write it off,
Yeah, don't write it off just yet.
Okay, so as I mentioned briefly then, we have looked fantastic at home, especially in terms of results. I mean, we've been picking up so many points at home. What have you made of those performances, and what do you think of the comparison of our home results compared to away?
I mean, I think the home results are about as good as you can get, really. And kind of in contrast to what I was just saying about Sheffield Wednesday, where it's like the most Swansea thing ever to lose to them. We have dispatched the poor teams at home. Now, Portsmouth and Oxford obviously came down early in the Matos reign. You worried, oh God, if we lose these, then we're right in amongst it. 6 from 6, 2 clean sheets, about as good as it gets, really. When we're not playing well, struggling to create chances, just what we needed. Now, obviously, the away form hasn't been brilliant, but that's been that hasn't been an issue because our home form has been so good. I think our home form should always be good.
I was going to say that, and I think you can see the sort of Klopp elements in Vitor Matos, I think, because he's the first real manager to come in and want to attack that, to make sure that our home form is good again, since maybe Potter, when we went on that absolutely ridiculous run at home. I think, if I was a football club, I'd much rather win every game at home and lose every game away. For all I care. Like, the home performances are
Well, you don't go away, do you? So it don't make a blind bit of difference, do you?
All right, you went to Hull once.
I was there, not many others.
Now you're
but,
also you and 150 people. Like, but
it was one of the bleaker away days.
Yeah. But I think as a football club, you'd much rather win home than away. There's all the talk about building a fortress and stuff, and the mentality comes from home as well. It's you want more people in the ground, and you do that by winning. And I think,
ultimately, for probably 95% of people who go and watch your team, their entire perception is going to be what they see at home on a weekly basis.
Exactly.
So getting that home form is so important, and it's going to build a connection between the manager and the fans. When he's giving it the fist bumps over to the East Stand every week, that's going to have an effect on people. So it's 5 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat at home under Matos. It's a brilliant, brilliant platform to start with.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the away form will get better. So once that happens, we're in business. I don't want to say we're dreaming, but this appointment has worked out about as well as it possibly could have.
Yeah, and it shows the level of manager he is, because when you're at home, you can control a game. You decide how the game goes. You dictate it. When you're away, anything could happen. So away form is one of them where it's always sticky. Some teams thrive on that atmosphere. Under Russell Mine, we seem to only be able to win away. But under Matos, there's that clear link to the home fans now, where we seem to perform at home much better than we do away. Even though, again, I thought we were brilliant at Hull. There aren't many performances, home or away, where I've particularly walked away from watching it and thought, we've been shocking. That's really disappointing.
No, I agree. And I think to get 0 points out of Hull, Stoke and Coventry, 3 sides who are towards the top end of the division as well, is really unfortunate. We deserve a lot more from that, because I think we were at least as good as, or if not the better side in all 3 games.
I agree.
And if Matos can start turning performances into results, which I remember when he first came in, it was, performances don't matter, we just need results at the moment, because and if he gets us 21st, then it's an achievement. We're looking up the league now, because he's got us playing so well. Don't get me wrong, I don't think we're going to trouble the playoffs this season.
No, even though we aren't that far away.
The remit was to stay up.
Yeah.
He's far surpassed that.
Yeah.
We were, probably not the biggest fans of the Matos appointment when it first happened, because you kind of questioned what the logic was, really, in bringing in a guy who managed 12 games in the Portuguese second tier. As I say, I don't think it could have worked out much better. And I don't think he's getting the credit he deserves, because I still don't massively rate this group of players.
I really do believe he is a serious manager. I think we talked about the potential of finding a diamond in the rough, and I think we really have done that. Linda's was a complete failure as a manager, but he is quite clearly a very talented manager who will go on to big things, whether that be here or whether that be someone else. I really do believe it.
No, I agree. I think we're looking at the birthing of a pretty special manager.
You listen to everything he says, the way he talks about building a mentality. The Klopp's Liverpool team, they were constantly described as mentality monsters, how important it was to build a mentality. Everything he does is sort of in the image of what Jurgen Klopp did.
He even came and stood on the pitch during the warm-ups the first couple of games. I tell you the other thing about him, which I love, which I'm so glad the manager's brought back, is coming over to the away fans before away games. Absolutely love it. Someone's definitely had a word
told
with
him,
him.
because no other manager's ever done that.
No.
So Russell Martin.
And I love how he's brought it back, because that was my favourite thing.
It's fantastic. It just gets you up for it, doesn't it, from moment one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely love it. But I think we're looking at the beginning of a pretty special manager. And I tell you the other thing which I really like about him, and this might sound like quite a low bar, but you watch his press conferences or the like reaction videos you do, and you go, yeah, he's watched the same game as me.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he doesn't try and dress it up.
I think we said that in the last episode, didn't it? He doesn't lie. He doesn't, you watch every single manager who manages any team. It's always the same canon phrases of, we look decent today, even if you've just lost 3-0. We were unlucky. This went against us, that went against us. But when you watch Vito Matos, it's like a breath of fresh air, isn't it? He genuinely tells the truth. And, his analysis of the game is genuinely good. Like, he's interesting to listen to.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think an underrated element of appointing Swansea City managers, which Matos falls into, is you've got to be the right sort of character to get on here. We don't like sort of the abrasive...
The Michael Duffs.
Duffs.
You've got to be a good person.
I mean, Sheehan was always that to us.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we probably spent more time with him than any other Swansea manager. But it didn't always come across in the press what I thought he was like.
I think that is literally just he is a bit dry, maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
He was a really nice man, ultimately. Michael Duff, we never met him, but personally, my view on him the whole time... Oh, yeah, you did. But my view on him, the whole... I've got the photo.
Yeah,
I might throw
like
it in about...
He looked like he
I don't want to give myself any more editing, but I'll throw in the photo of Oli and Michael Duff just
to prove that
just for a
actually
meme on
came
Twitter.
To Swansea
but he seemed like a bit of a prick.
Yeah,
for being honest. He did. And you compare it to the likes of Russell Martin and Luke Williams and Graham Potter. They're just such great characters.
And it's those sort of warm, likeable characters who do succeed here. I don't think there's any sort of coincidence in that, because, I mean, perhaps this isn't just unique to us. Perhaps this is every club. Those sort of disciplinarian, old-fashioned managers don't work so much anymore. But I do think it's more so the case here.
Yeah.
Because the fans just take to them a lot more.
I think we're a very particular place and we're very particular people. Maybe it is just because we're Welsh, but then again, I think that says enough, because Cardiff seem to appoint a load of dicks the last few years, and the second they bring in some normal bloke, they're doing well. So, maybe it is just the fact we're Welsh. Same with Wrexham, Parky's quite a good character.
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree. As you say, don't appoint dicks if you're a club. It's basically our advice of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, just anyone similar to Michael Duff. So
run. Yeah, run as far as you can. I did enjoy Luke Williams beating Michael Duff on the weekend as well.
With Russell Martin watching.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. A victory for likeable Swansea City managers.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on to some audience questions now. We've got some good ones today, I feel.
Yeah, I'll start by giving one to you. How far do you think Ethan Galbraith can go? And that's from Jay Hanley on Twitter.
I think he's such a top player, and I think he's such a rare profile because he's so small in the middle, and the way he plays is just ridiculous. His little flicks? There's just everything about him's fantastic. He's a right back who 1 minute he's on the right side of the pitch, the next minute you're looking at the right, whereas he's on the other side of the field. His engine's brilliant. He's a very good passer. I think he's fantastic on the ball, and he's so exciting to watch. I think he's very easily going to be a Premier League player.
Yeah, I'm confident he has a good Premier League career. I think we'll see him go to a Bournemouth or something this summer. Yeah,
he's genuinely special. He's so exciting to watch. And I mean, he's one of those midfielders where, don't get me wrong, the man who went to Coventry was he was a great footballer.
Commitment to this,
but he wasn't exciting to watch, was he? He just did the basics so well, and that's what made him such a good player. But I watch Ethan Galbraith, and he gets me off my seat. The way he flicks the ball over his head and stuff. It's like what Ronaldo tries to do and fails. That's
yeah. I'd like to see him back in midfield is the only thing. I know that's tough given our lack of options at right back, but I think he is a better midfielder. He is.
But I do enjoy him at right back, and I think what he adds from right back is he adds an extra midfielder pretty much.
Oh, I can see what Matos is trying to do with the right back. You could see the Liverpool
He's just absolutely everywhere. It's ridiculous. I think he might have no legs by the end of the season. So
yeah, that is my biggest.
He might end up nowhere.
That is my biggest worry with him, is we are playing him into the ground, don't we? Obviously, had a knock last midweek, came off at half-time on Saturday. a week off now will certainly do him good.
Yeah,
'Cause
for sure.
Even, he's played a hell of a lot of football here. He's also played a hell of a lot of football on international duty as well.
Yeah.
He's playing for Northern Ireland.
And
every
they love
week.
him too, I mean, says enough.
What was it, better than Verts on it or something?
Yeah.
That was the suggestion.
Right, Gethin on Twitter has asked you, how does this painful away form change?
Yeah, I mean...
Which I think we've just touched on.
Yeah,
pretty
we
well,
touched on it, but there's a couple of things I'd like to add to it, really, as
Yeah.
much as anything. One of them is a sort of a shameless plug, as much as anything, for that place behind us. I've just done that again, and I pointed to it. It says the Swansea Jack.
Yeah,
For those who are
we have plenty of
listening to this.
Spotify listeners who have no idea what's
Sorry
going
to
on
Spotify
there.
listeners there. Swansea Jack obviously runs an away coach service for every game. I went on it on Saturday, was really impressed.
Video coming out soon.
Yeah, video coming out soon of my experiences of the day. I was really impressed by the service that they ran, and I think more and more people, if they can, should be using that. Obviously, it's sold out for Watford now. I'm really glad about that. Everyone we met on the bus was brilliant. All Swans fans desperate to just have a good time, wanted to talk about the team. Some really enjoyable conversations about the club, and I think going away from home, bringing more fans, that's the first start to it, because an away crowd, a good away crowd, can make or break a day.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we need to take more everywhere we go, I think.
I do think, this is a bit of a cheeky suggestion, but I think it would be nice if the owners did some more free travel, because Hull did it last season, didn't they, or the season before? And I think when you are a team like Swansea, a team like Hull, and you're so isolated, the closest away game to us is an hour away, an hour and a half away, and it's already happened. I think you do need that sort of appeal to get people to go to the game, and it is very expensive to get to a game.
Yeah.
I think a few more of those a season, like they did at Coventry, and just to try sort of push people into going again, because I'm sure there are plenty of people who just have been out of it for years, and they almost don't know where to start with going to games. Just, I think a few more free ones could get some.
Well, we lost the supporters bus last season, so that sort of made a difference. But I don't think as many people perhaps know about the bus coming from here.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that.
Should, because it wasn't completely full on the weekend. There were still tickets available when it went. Now,
maybe that's
trip
down
to
to
Hull
the
and
fact it
back
was
is
just
long,
Hull. Yeah,
but
to Hull and Back is a podcast.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh well, lovely food.
it's a great name.
That's my biggest takeaway from the game. Hull's food is as
I know
good
you
as it
took
looks.
2 clips of it, mate.
Yeah,
It's a good.
Korean fried chicken. It was
Did
unbelievable.
look mental. Yeah,
Yeah.
seen it on that Scran page before.
Oh yeah. And on our bringing it back from food to our away form
Yeah,
variants, we're playing well,
yeah,
and ultimately it's going to change. Vipotnik missed 2 absolute sitters. Hull scored a screamer and a mental penalty. We could play that game 100 times again.
Yeah.
And we'd probably win it.
I think eventually it'll come. It's just one of them. Like when you pick up so many points at home, eventually something will click and you'll just start winning away. Like that's just the reality.
And if we start doing that, then get the sailors' hats on. So, Toby on Twitter for this one. Is promotion years off, and have we become a club like Preston North End, who are actually fighting towards the top end of the division this season?
so
Maybe
those
that's a
are
bit harsh.
Now, I think the problem with this is sort of over expectation. We said it in the summer on the podcast. You can go back and check. I think it was somewhere like episode 8. We said I still think we are absolutely years off, and I said that in the summer after we'd signed so many players, and I do, because the reality is it's not as simple as just chucking money at a few players and getting promoted in this league anymore. I think we're actually closer than we were, in the summer before any of the results had happened or we knew anything, because we have got a much better coach now. And it seems that a lot of players have, gone better, but we still have, far too many sort of passengers in this squad to be close to promotion yet.
No, I think that's fair. I mean, I think the question was in the summer, will we play League One football first or Premier League football?
Yeah.
And
You said League One, didn't you?
and I probably still stand by that.
I
to be
still
honest,
think we'll
but-
play Premier League football first. I think we've got money and we've got a good manager, and clearly we have a pretty good eye for appointing a manager.
Oh, certainly.
When the 2 options were Hellberg, who is doing brilliantly at Middlesbrough, and our manager, who is doing brilliantly here,
Don't know why. I still think, I don't know why, but I still think we made the right choice.
I
know Hellberg is doing incredibly well.
What, between Hellberg and Matos?
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I think Matos is more of a Swansea character.
Yeah.
Hellberg isn't a Swansea character the same way Matos
Is
is.
it boring, dare I say? I don't know if that's
But
harsh.
all Swedish coaches are pretty boring.
Just a sweeping generalisation.
No, they are. If you know, think of most Swedish coaches are they particularly interesting characters?
Because I'm racking my brain trying to really think of many Swedish coaches. I've got Sven-Goran Eriksson and that's it. Am I being stupid yet?
Well, no, because I'm thinking of ones that from Swedish league.
Oh, you're a regular Allsvenskan, do you?
Oh, I am. I'm like Swansea HQ, man. I watch Boa Vista every week.
Yeah. One of those for people who are on Twitter, that one, isn't it?
Fantastic, man. I love Tacticos, but yeah, you know.
I can't laugh too much because I used to be like that.
You really were. It's kind of a shame that I'm sat next to you now because you really were that guy who watched, you know, the MLS, everything. Do you still support the San Jose Earthquakes?
Well, I just hope they do well, yeah. It's just signed Timo Werner, actually.
Yeah, fair play.
Just saw that the other day. But, you know, yeah.
Final question is from Willie, who's on Twitter. Now, I didn't expect you to put this in when I saw it.
Yeah. I like to respond to my critics.
Okay. Why did you delete your Widdell tweet after the Blackburn game?
Now, I mean, probably very few
what
people
was
will
the
have actually
Widdell
seen
tweet?
this.
Yeah.
In more words than this, I basically called him Swedish Ollie Cooper, where I said, I don't know what he does that Ollie Cooper doesn't do. Now, the reason I deleted it was because I thought, this is a bit harsh after a win. I don't know why I'm...
A bit critical for no reason.
For no reason after a win. And I thought, there's just no point. All my other tweets were positive. There's no point in it. You know, I saw a couple of people disagree. That doesn't usually tend to bother me. I'm sure I've said plenty of things that people disagree with on this podcast before.
Things I disagree with.
Yeah, exactly. And you bite your tongue well. But I kind of still stand by a little bit. I also didn't realise the fact that we'd won every game that he started, and perhaps people far more intelligent than me see something that I don't. Yeah. But he's quite good on the...
You can't even decide when he's good on.
I meant off the ball.
Yeah.
He's quite good off the ball. He works really hard. Obviously, we signed him to play for Luke Williams, and I'm not really sure what the plan was there.
How? Yeah.
I don't know whether we signed him with the plan being once Franco went, he'd sort of become his replacement, because they're a little bit similar. And out of those two, I think Franco gives you a little bit more off the ball. Vidal probably gives you a little bit more on the ball. But I still think Franco is overall the better player.
Yeah.
Now, the Ollie Cooper thing.
It's maybe a bit far.
I like Ollie Cooper.
Yeah.
And it's more... Widell's obviously a better player than Ollie Cooper, but we spent $4 million to bring Widell in when Ollie Cooper was already in the building.
And I think he does get, you know, a very sort of fair discourse about him on Twitter. I don't really see Widell get any hate or anything. Not hate, but for example, under this tweet, right, there was a full thread under this tweet of this guy, Will, talking with another guy. And despite the tweet being about Widell and Ollie Cooper, he still managed to bring it back to Liam Cullen at some point. That's the difference. There are some players who, you know, are not talked about negatively whatsoever. And then there's a player like Cullen who, even in a tweet that has nothing to do with him, somebody commented, Cullen can't do anything. Cullen can't pass. Cullen can't do this. Cullen can't press. Cullen can't move. Like, genuinely, it was a full list of things he couldn't do. Yeah, he scored a goal.
Don't get me wrong, I don't think he's been very good this season.
I mean, this season was one of his worst, but at the end of the day, the guy in this tweet was saying he's not even League 2 level, which is really something, you know. I remember Widell came on against Millwall, and it was potentially one of the worst performances I've seen in a while in a Swansea shirt, and there wasn't any flack against him on Twitter. Now, I support that. I completely support being positive.
And he's new, and he's...
Yeah, I completely support it, but I think that should be shared across all players. Like, I'm sure, you know, the person under this tweet talking about, you know, why did you delete it, would be happy to talk shit about someone like Cullen after a bad game. So it's just all about consistency.
It's a bit of shiny new toy syndrome, which is understandable.
Yeah, it's the same with the Noosa, to be honest.
But I'm just not... I'm not as high on him as other people are. Let's put it that way.
No.
That can be my final conclusion.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a worse player than Ollie Cooper by any stretch. And I think his off-the-ball work, he gives his all, works really hard. I'm just not 100% sure the quality's always there.
Yeah.
And he's a little bit disappointing for me when he was linked with Borussia Dortmund in the summer. Or,
allegedly, yeah.
But
there we are.
We'll see. Yeah. Perhaps he'll have a big second half of the season. I hope he does.
Yeah. Do you want to mention the Ospreys shirt quickly? Because you haven't touched on it yet.
No, I haven't. I haven't addressed it at any point. Yeah. Obviously, we put out a tweet last week about, and on all socials it did really well, about the Ospreys. Obviously, very disappointing what's going on at the moment. I think you were obviously planning on wearing one as well. But
I did have uni before this, And
we just wanted to sort of wear them to sort of keep everyone's eye on the situation, really, because it is disappointing what's going on. And I think, Six Nations is starting. Everyone will be getting back into rugby again, as, they do for 6 weeks a year. But it is, quite sad what's going on at the moment. And the WRU need to act and save professional rugby.
I think it's absolutely vital that rugby is saved in Swansea. Like, obviously, your family aren't as huge on rugby as mine, maybe.
You say that.
So, but
my cousin played for the Lions and for Wales.
Did he?
Oh. Yeah, JJ Williams for any
fair play
older
to you.
Watchers.
But like your dad doesn't like rugby, whatever. But I can see my dad in the house, like constantly just sopping around about it, like about the Ospreys going, and like it does have a genuine effect on people. And as football fans, like sometimes we were probably, most of us were more than happy to see the Ospreys leave the Liberty or the Swancom for the sake of the pitch being a bit better. But seeing them not exist would be tragic for our city. Absolutely
I agree.
Tragic.
And I think it's more about what it sort of means for the city than necessarily just, losing the Ospreys.
And the problem is there is zero reason why out of all the regions they should go.
Yeah.
2 of the regions have gone bankrupt and have had to be bankrolled by the WRU to be saved. One of them, very recent, Cardiff, who are literally being saved because they are Cardiff. And the Ospreys are the most successful region.
And just sort of being made to step aside so that Cardiff can survive. It is very frustrating. But fingers crossed. I mean, I saw the former Ospreys players put a statement out tonight.
Yeah.
Hopefully put some pressure on, but keep fighting.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
That's the reason for the shirt. I'm sure anyone who's watching this is aware by now. But
there we are. As always, we appreciate you all for watching, and we'll see you on the bet. Bye.